What you see now on screen is the causative verbs. Like what we commonly say to someone else when we want the person to do the actions, or we cause the person to do the action, or we make the person to do the action. So there are two things that we need to understand. The first one is who asks the person to do the action, and number two is the doer of the action. There are many kinds of these causative verbs. Can be cause, can be let is the verb, make, have, and get, and the verbs can be applied in all tenses that you can use in present or in past or in future. The meaning of let is to allow or to give permission for an action. Let object with verb infinitive. The open window let the air escape. So the open window let the air escape. Let here is in the past simple. The air is the object. Escape is out. The next one with make. Make object with verb. The meaning is you force someone to do something. So someone here doesn't want to do it, but you forced someone, or you forced the person to do something. They made students obey the school rules. Who made the students obey? They. Or you make it this, force the students to obey. So you force the students to obey the school rules with make as the causative verbs. Next with have. The meaning of have here is to give someone responsibility to do something. This is the causative verb to say the responsibility of person, the agent, to do the thing or the action. Bruno had Icarus is the person. Check last year's figures. Check last year's figures. This is responsibility of Icarus had to do. And who asked that responsibility to be done? Bruno. The next one is get. Get here with person to infinitive, but the meaning is to convince someone to do something. Remember, you convince, you make sure the person to do something. Before the person is not sure, and after that you convince the person, and after that, that person does the action. They couldn't let him to open the door. They couldn't get him to open the door. This is with get. Should be get, okay? The next one, what you see now here is the causative verbs in passive. In the previous one, when we see, this is all we know the persons, or we know the agent. This is the window, let the air escape. Students obey the school rules. Icarus checked last year's figures, and him or he here opened the door. So we know who does the action. But in here, in causative verb, in the passive form, we have something done without mentioning who does the action. I had my haircut last week. Who did the action of cutting my hair? It's not mentioned, but I'm sure you know it. It must be barbershop, or it is done by a person who has skill of cutting or making cut of hair. My sister is going to have her tooth filled tomorrow. When we say this or these expressions without mentioning who is going to do the action of filling the tooth, but we know it must be dentist, but it is not mentioned. When did you get your car repaired? When did you get your car repaired? You know the person who is in charge of repairing the car is mechanic. but you don't mention it. You only care about your car repaired. So this is the causative verbs. Have something done without mentioning who does the action. So the main pattern of the causative verbs, to understand how to form passive causative here, we need to review the patterns for the causative and passive first. The causative patterns basically like the subject, that is the person who intends or who wants the thing to be done, and this is the choice of the causative verb. Could be have, let, and make. Any tense is possible here. You think it is in the past, or it is in the present, or it is in the future. The next one is the object or the person who is in charge, that you ask the person responsible of doing the action, the base verb. It's basically, it is no tense here because this is the base verb, so it is infinitive. Example, the man had the mechanic fix the car. Fix here is not affected by the tense. Whatever the tense here, it is still infinitive. It is one active sentence because you know the person, the mechanic, who is responsible of fixing his car. The next one in the passive pattern that you can make, the subject here, the person, okay, or could be the thing, or any tenses, could be by person, could be his car was fixed. This is passive sentences. His car was fixed. The man had the mechanic fix his car. His car was fixed by the mechanic. Similar meaning but different pattern. Now this is the passive causative pattern. There's a person, the subject here, you choose could be have or get or with the object and past participle without mentioning who does the action. Or if you think it is necessary or you think it is important, you can use with by someone or by who is in charge or responsible for that. The man had his car fixed. Of course, it's by mechanic. By someone can be dropped out. You can delete it from the passive pattern, right? So had here is the causative pattern. It is in the passive pattern. It is in the past. Focus on the second verb. That is the thing from the passive pattern. And fix here in the past participle from the passive pattern. So fix has nothing to do with the tenses. It is in the passive pattern. Okay, that's all I guess about the causative verbs and expressions. You need to understand more by doing the exercises.